Hey, what's up everybody? Pastor Matt here. Let's talk for a couple of moments about publishing, if we will. I do get this question from time to time from brothers, especially other pastors who have some interest in publishing something from time to time. Of course, I've done a little bit of publishing in my life. Nothing great, nothing successful, no bestsellers, anything like that. But I have done publishing of various types over the years. I have done what we might call traditional publishing, where you work with a well-established and known publisher who takes your content and puts it into the books under their labels and headings and promotes it with their various mechanisms of promotion and marketing. And I have also done some publishing that we might call independent publishing, where the author himself or herself has control of the distribution and the creative process of their work. So the question today is, which one is better? Well, this question was prompted by a friend of mine who had a book idea. In fact, he's completed the manuscript of the book and would now like to have it published. And so the question is, how best to do that? Well, let's take a few moments and we'll examine the positives and the negatives of both traditional and independent publishing. So let's talk first of all about traditional publishing. What do we mean by a traditional publisher? Well, a traditional publisher is one in which there is a large mechanism or machine, we might say, for the process of publication that is already in place. And so these publishers have names, and many of those names you've heard. If you are a Christian and you do some Christian reading, you've heard of Zondervan, you've heard of Baker, you've heard of IVP Press, you've heard of Crossway. Those would all be examples of traditional publishers. Should you submit your manuscript to one of them and hope that they accept it and get it published? Well, I don't want to be one to discourage you. Maybe you should. Maybe you've got a great book idea, and that book could very well be a bestseller for them. If so, I'm sure they would like to hear from you. Now, there are some positives and negatives regarding traditional publication. First of all, one of the great positives is this. If you can get a traditional publisher to accept your manuscript and to put it into print, that is going to do wonders for your writing career. As far as a writer's reputation, there is nothing better than publishing something by a traditional publishing medium. If you can get Crossway to bite, then by all means, I would say go for it. That is going to be the best for your writing reputation. Working with a traditional publisher comes along with what we might call instant credibility. If I can present to you a book that Crossway has accepted, that means it's gone through some review, an acquisitions editor liked it, it's going to go through a whole editing process, probably some peer review, especially if it's something theological or pastoral. There's going to be other eyes that have approved it. And all along the way, including the publication board, that group of people that decides what gets published and what doesn't, have said, yes, 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 this is good content. Now, that doesn't mean that every single book is a great book, because traditional publishers, they do put out duds from time to time. In fact, it's their rare best-selling successes that ironically fund all of the duds that go out. But nevertheless, one of the advantages of traditional publishing is excellence. You're going to work with people that do this all the time. You're going to have a cover that is designed by somebody who professionally designs covers. You're going to have copy editing done by somebody who does professional copy editing. And that means the numbers of errors that are going to creep through into publication are going to be relatively small. And all things considered, if you can publish traditionally, then by all means do so. You're going to have the best graphics. You're going to have the best editing. And this is very important, you're going to have the best marketing and promotion done, because they have marketing and promotional means already established and in place. What do I mean by that? Well, they have catalogs, they have websites, they have Twitter feeds, they have social media, they do book fairs at big Christian conferences. And so it would seem that all of the advantages are on the side of traditional publishing, right? Well, not so fast. There are a couple of problems with traditional publishing. One of them is that it's simply very, very hard to get published by a traditional publisher. The number of people that want to be published traditionally is vast, and the relative acceptance rate of those manuscripts that are good enough to get there is very small. Okay, so I've done some traditional publishing before, but I can tell you that it's been very hard. The editing process is very rigorous, and you do have to work very hard to even get your content on the desk of an acquisitions editor, much less through the process. Most of the stuff that I've done traditional has not been my own book, in which Matt Everhart is on the cover, but rather they are chapters that I have submitted to various publishers that were accepted for other volumes. One of my greatest successes was I wrote 4 entries to the Jonathan Edwards Encyclopedia done by Eerdmans. That book was edited by some of the top Edwards scholars in the world, but all I got in it was 4 pages, 4 little encyclopedia entries. Okay, I have a very academic chapter on Jonathan Edwards coming out from a publisher in Germany. If you can get published in Europe, my goodness, that's academically speaking, that's even better than America, because Europe is considered this bastion of intellectual knowledge. But it's very hard, and the one chapter that I wrote took hours and hours and hours of time being peer reviewed by other Edwards scholars and being edited over and over again. So when that book finally comes out, I'm going to be pretty proud of that. That's all traditional publishing. So all the advantages of marketing, excellence, production, design, all of those are in the corner of the traditional publisher. So why then would anybody independently publish? Well, here we go. There are some advantages to independent publishing. First of all, it has lost the stigma now of self-publishing and vanity press that it used to have even 10 years ago. More and more writers are moving over into the category of independent publishing for various reasons. One of those reasons is that it is becoming increasingly accepted and easier to do. I've done some works through Amazon CreateSpace. If you have an Amazon account, you can easily start a CreateSpace account, and that will take your work short, whether it's short as 25 pages or as long as several hundred, and you can, within a couple hours, load that up and have it available for digital, so somebody can buy it on their Kindle, or you can even upload it so that it is produced in paperback form. On-demand printing is easier and better than ever through Amazon CreateSpace, and you can have your book available all over the world within a couple of hours. Other advantages of independent publishing: you get to design your own cover. You don't get to pick your cover with traditional publishing. They do that for you. If you don't like it, too bad. The publisher decides that. With independent publishing, you can control your own content. You can update your work as often as you want to. If you find a mistake, you re-upload your PDF and it's already available the next day. So there's speed, there's power, there's the ability to change directions. You want to eliminate a chapter, you want to add a chapter, you want to remove a paragraph, you can do that anytime you want. And it's available all over the world. Not only that, but you don't have to go through that same rigorous process of acceptance that you would with a traditional publisher. And that's maybe why self-publishing used to have the stigma about it being lesser quality. And trust me, there are plenty of real stinkers out there that are self-published or independent published works. But a lot of writers are moving over to independently published platforms now. And let me be honest, one of those reasons is money. That's right, money. With a traditional publisher, you're only going to make a dime if your book sells more than the cost it took to get it into production. So after all the editors are paid, all the graphic design persons are paid, all the marketing costs are paid, if there's any left over, then you're going to get some of it. Not even all of it, but just a fraction of it, maybe 10%. And so a lot of writers who publish traditionally, they never make it financially. Now with independent publishing, it's exactly the opposite. If I write a 100-page book, I can set the price at $5, or I can sell it at 12. I can set the price at 20. I could set it at $99 if I really wanted to. Of course, I probably wouldn't sell any that way, but I could. And here's the deal. With Amazon CreateSpace, whatever the cost is to print an individual booklet, any margin above that is going to go right to the author as royalties. So you are essentially betting on yourself in that form. If you think your book is worth $12 and you think people will buy it for $12, then you can make $8 on every book you sell. That's the advantage of independent publishing. Now, of course, you're not going to have the machine behind you. You're not going to have the catalog. You're not going to have the social media, perhaps. You're not going to be able to get into the conventions. You're not going to have the book tables at the big conferences. That's all the department of the traditional press. But if you think that you can promote your work, you believe in it, you stand behind it, then why not go for it and bet on yourself? So I would be considered actually a hybrid author because I've done traditional publishing. And in fact, I have more coming down the line, I hope, as far as traditional publishing goes in the future. I've got some items, some rods in the fire, as they say, even right now, hoping they're going to come into publication soon enough. But I am also testing the waters of the independent publishing as well. In fact, I've got this second edition of my book Unknown coming out. It's called Unknown: The Extraordinary Influence of Ordinary Christians. It's a book that I wrote myself. I had a few friends help me edit it. I had another couple of friends help me with the cover. And here we go, independent publishing. I'm not looking for the support or the backing of a big publishing house. I don't want to waste the time going through Zondervan or Crossway. Those guys are amazing. I'd love to work with them sometime. But I've got more ideas than it takes the time to be able to get them through a traditional publisher. And so I want to get some of my stuff into the hands of my people and the people that subscribe to this page. So there's that. Well, I hope I didn't discourage anybody. I hope I encouraged you. You can do either one. If you are skilled and passionate and learn it in your field and you have ideas, then chances are there's somebody out there that needs to hear from you. Whether your best route is through a traditional publisher or through independent publishing, that is up for you to decide. And thankfully, we have options. It used to be that, 10 years ago, there was only one option. It was traditional publishing, or else you're a vanity self-promoter. It's not true anymore. Independent publishing has worked its way into the hearts and minds of many readers and many writers as well, and it has now become a viable option for producing good quality content that the writer has control over. All right, well, hopefully that helped you out. Thanks for checking into my YouTube page. Love you lots, and we'll chat with you next time.